Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. I'm sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we'll be talking to Melissa, who is a family nurse practitioner practicing out of Nevada. Currently, she owns her own clinic that focuses on integrative and functional medicine. She also provides hormone replacement therapy services and some general primary care. Melissa is needing assistance with income generation. She feels her practice could be more efficient and organized to streamline its processes. She's also finding that she is turning away business and is curious if she should bring on another nurse practitioner, as she has plenty of room for more patients. Hey, Melissa, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for hopping on this call.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go ahead and get to it. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How long have you been a nurse practitioner for, and what you've been doing?
I've been a nurse practitioner for 5 years, and I'm also a naturopathic doctor. I've been a naturopathic doctor for about 9 years, and I am in private practice with my husband, who's an acupuncturist. So I do a little bit of primary care using an integrative and functional medicine approach, and some bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, nutrition, herbal medicine, stuff like that.
Cool. All right. So did you jump into private practice as soon as you finished school?
I did. Yeah. I was a naturopathic doctor first, and I worked at a large integrative clinic there just as an employee while I was finishing up my nurse practitioner stuff. And then once I graduated and became a nurse practitioner, then my husband and I moved back to our home state and opened our own practice. So we've been in practice now for 5 years together.
Fantastic. So what made you go from naturopathic doctor to nurse practitioner?
Well, I just went into the naturopathic program right after I finished my first bachelor's, and I was, 22 years old and
Sure.
pretty naive in terms of like sort of the business forecast of doing that, and didn't really quite realize that my home state, where my husband and I both wanted to live, wasn't licensed for naturopathic doctors. There's only like 25 states that are. And so we both, really wanted to move back there. And so it was kind of a choice between, okay, do I, get a lobbyist and pursue like passing legislation to try to practice there? Or do I do something else? And so I decided to become a nurse practitioner, and really just kind of fell in love with nursing and doing like the primary care side of things too. And now we're back in our home state and I'm able to practice. We have, full autonomy there. So it's a good situation.
All right, fair enough. So do you use a naturopathic doctor scope at all anymore, or are you just strictly just operating as a nurse practitioner at this point?
Well, I do, because I really do just a ton of integrative medicine. And so all my, education with like the nutrition and the herbal medicine, lifestyle medicine, all of that comes into play. And most patients that seek me out actually seek me out because I'm a naturopathic doctor. It's just that, I'm able to diagnose and treat and prescribe medications when I need to because of
Right.
nurse practitioner license. So
Right. Yeah, I know lots of chiropractors who've kind of done the same thing. You know what I mean? They get their chiropractic license and then they go to nurse practitioner school so they can do the diagnosing and order MRIs and order meds and that kind of stuff. So it sounds like you kind of did a similar path, it sounds like.
yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. So you have this practice. It's been open for about 5 years. So run some numbers by me. How are you doing financially here?
we're doing well, I think. Usually a typical month will bring in like between 40 and 50,000. And then, I mean, that's, not including like our overhead and stuff, but that's
Right,
gross.
gross.
So, we're living comfortably and
Sure.
doing fine. But with all that school, I have a ton of student loan debt. And, it took me 5 years to get my doctorate in naturopathic medicine. And then, I have two bachelors and masters. And I really just feel like we could be making more than we are. And
Sure.
we're not because we've got two young kids. We have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And so we're like living in chaos. And I think we're just not like operating efficiently. And it's frustrating because I see like so much potential, but it's just a matter of like being organized to fulfill that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you should be making double that, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, you really should. I know just straight up NPs that make double that a month. I mean, I make more than that a month. So yeah, there's definitely room to grow here. I mean, there's for sure. So, you're bringing in 40, 50 gross, when it's all said and done, how much are you actually taking home about, if you don't mind?
I think so. Last year it was close to 300,000, and I think
Okay.
our business had done like close to 500,000.
Okay. So, I mean, that $300,000 a year salary is good money. I mean, you're
Well,
definitely in
that's
the top
between me
5%.
and yeah, that's between me and my husband now.
Right.
So
Still, it's pretty good though. So you want to
yeah.
grow this. I'm sure you want to have $1 million practice, what it sounds like.
Yes.
Walk me through this. So how many days a week are you open seeing patients?
So my husband is there 4 days per week, and I'm there 3 days per week because we try to split our time between, the kids so that they're not just constantly in daycare. So
Okay.
and then they're always sick is the other problem because of daycare. So I feel like every other week, one of us is having to cancel a day's worth of patients to stay home with them when they're sick. So
Gotcha. So, before we hop on this phone call, you just briefly mentioned, that you are turning away patients and, scheduling way in advance. Tell me about that.
yeah, so for new patients, for me, I was booked out like 4 or 5 months in advance. And so
Wow.
we got to the point where we just started saying, we'll get your name and number and we'll call you when there's an opening. Because then it was like, if people did come in 4 or 5 months later, whatever they originally were calling for was like already resolved. Or sometimes it felt like they just had such high expectations. They thought, oh, if you're booked out, 5 months in advance, then you're going to cure all my ailments in one visit. Right. And so it just
Right.
like too much pressure. So right now I'm seeing like 2 or 3 new patients a day. And that's sort of my max because it's just, it's exhausting. It's a lot of work to see new patients. And so
Right.
we're trying to limit that.
Okay. So you're booking out 4 or 5 months in advance or whatever. What percentage of those people actually convert into a patient? Because generally speaking, most people are very impulsive. And so if you can't get them in within a couple of weeks, they'll find somewhere else. Or
Yep.
they'll just forget about you. So, do you have any idea what percentage of these people actually end up converting that you schedule out 4 or 5 months in advance?
That's a good question. My guess would probably be, yeah, I would say we have like 1 or 2 of them per week that either cancel or don't show up out of
Okay.
like, we schedule 3 days and then out of like nine and new a week, probably 1 or 2 of those don't come in.
So you're looking at 15 to 30%. So if you could fix that right now, you just increased your income by 30%, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just one simple fix. Boom, you just increased your income, right?
Mhm.
So you don't have the time. You're with your kids doing stuff. You got to live life as well. And I'm sure you probably don't want to work more if you can help it, right?
Right.
So I think that your line of thinking of hiring another nurse practitioner or something to come in here and help you out is spot on. I think that should be priority number one here.
Okay.
Priority number one. I mean, so with my men's health clinic, okay, I hired another nurse practitioner once we were scheduling out like 3 or 4 weeks in advance. I was like, okay, it's time to hire someone else because 3 or 4 weeks in advance is no bueno. That's not going to work. Because like I said, people are impulsive. They want it now. They don't want to wait more than a couple of weeks. That's just how it goes, especially with these cash-based practices. Remember, convenience is what your patients want. If you can provide convenience, then you have a successful business. I mean, really. So I think that should be a priority number one. Because like I said, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I hired another nurse practitioner. He was able to come in. It was the best decision I ever made. I'm still making money and I'm working less. He's making me money. And, paying him, it's not that big of a deal. It's not, you know what I mean? Because the income totally offsets it. You're making money. So it's not a big deal to pay this individual. So I brought him in and he started making me more money. We pretty much doubled our patient volume. Income literally doubled in like a year and a half, bringing him aboard. And then him and me were scheduling out 3 or 4 weeks in advance. So now I had to hire another one. So now I have 2 nurse practitioners working under me. So, I suspect probably in the next year, I'll probably have to hire another one. Be thinking through this. Okay. I think you really need to hire someone ASAP.
And do you recommend hiring them as an employee or an IC?
Yeah, just do independent 1099. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to try to avoid W-2 employees as much as you possibly can because there's the employment taxes that surround it and stuff, and it just eats into your profits.
Okay.
Try to do it as 1099. You can justify, a nurse practitioner coming in, 1 or 2 days a week as a 1099. You can justify that.
Okay.
And so I would pay this individual production, 100% production. That's the best way to do it.
So like you give them a percentage? You can
either do that or give them a flat rate. So paying them production like this is basically no risk to the business owner, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying this person a salary. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs. So if you give them straight production, it's minimal risk to you. You can either do a percentage, 30%, 40%, whatever, or you can just do a flat rate. I pay mine a flat rate, $100 per new patient, $50 for follow-ups, $100 for the new patient. New patients take 45 minutes. Follow-ups take 5 to 15 minutes. And they make $50 a pop. And they make $100 a pop for new patients. They do pretty good. It averages out to like $150 an hour. That's good money for a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
And they make their own schedule. I allow them to see patients whenever they want. Whatever you want to do, just give them free range.
Okay.
So what you would do is you're kind of hiring a part-time one, so to speak, maybe, maybe someone who's working in the ER or something wants to pick up an extra shift or two, a week or whatever. You can start there and then slowly grow it or just keep it part-time.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to bring on a full-time. I would just stick to part-time work.
Yeah.
And so there you go. So you fill in those other 2 days that you're not there. Now you've just increased patient volume by 40%, probably easy. And now those wait times go from 5 months to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then it starts scaling, snowballing really quick.
So my husband being an acupuncturist, we have 3 rooms that are set up for acupuncture, which I feel like also could be really set up nicely for a massage therapist. He's only there 4 days per week, but so evenings are open, weekends are open. And he's booking out too, I think like 4 to 6 weeks in advance. So, I guess, that was my biggest fear is that if we did bring someone on, they'd be like twiddling their thumbs and we'd be paying them. But if I like the production idea.
Right. No risk for you, even the massage therapists, straight production.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen to your patients. Like what do they want? Like what services do they want here? Like what do they want to see? If you got 3 empty rooms, fill the need. Like what is it they want? Do they want massage therapy? They want IV infusion? Like what do they want?
Yeah. We've had a lot of requests for IV infusion and I took your IV infusion course and we almost did it. And then I was like, but I don't have time to work more. So that was like the setback.
Well, why don't you have an RN in there doing the work for you?
Yeah. I think I was just scared that if I hired someone and had to pay them $50 an hour or whatever, that we would lose money. But I didn't realize you could do it on production.
You pay in production. You pay the RN $25 a pop.
Oh, okay.
$25 per infusion. You get 4 infusions, an hour. You're making $100 an hour. That's good money for an RN.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You just have an RN come in, a few hours in the evenings or something, do some IVs, just book them up.
Okay.
So then you have another revenue stream right there. You know what I mean? And then people are coming in for IVs and then they see, while they're waiting in the lobby or they're sitting there in the IV infusion chair. Now they're looking at your service pamphlet, your menu. You know what I mean? Oh, they do hormone replacement therapy. They do primary care. They do, gut health, whatever it may be. They'll start looking at that stuff and then they'll convert over to another patient that you can start seeing or the other nurse practitioner sees. Do you see how this grows? You see how this scales and just snowballs?
Yes.
So I think that it's time for you to start delegating work to others. To go from a 6-figure business to a 7-figure business truly takes you just delegating work to others, unless you just create some crazy product and it's all automated or something. But for most businesses, it requires you to delegate tasks to others, especially a service-based business like a practice. You just have to. That's the next step for your growth. No question about it.
Okay.
And you'll work less and you'll make more money. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. I also started doing skin pen microneedling, but that's been sort of a waste of my time because it's like by the time, we numb them and pay for all the supplies and all that, I'm making less money than if I was just seeing a new patient. So I'd like to bring on maybe an esthetician to do that. So all these people could just be 1099s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can always run it by your accountant if you want to.
Oh.
Some states have some different laws surrounding W-2 versus 1099. Like there's some states that like just don't allow 1099. Like it has to be like an independent business is contracting out with you kind of stuff. Like California is like that, New York State, I believe. But Nevada's kind of one of those cowboy states. I'd say you'd probably be okay.
Great.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. It's very hard for me to delegate. I think I'm like a control freak, but yeah, I do think I need to do that in order to make our business grow.
You 100% do. Yeah. The esthetician thing, whatever services you decide to bring in here, okay, you got to run the numbers. It has to be worthwhile to you. Like you also have to learn how to say no if you really want to grow a 7-figure business. You know what I mean? Like sometimes some services and products really aren't worth your time. They're just not. So is this micro needling, having an esthetician in there? Like how profitable is that for you? Is having that room, being filled by someone like that, is it worth it? Are you making money? I'll give you 2 examples. So I'll give you one example from my men's health clinic. We sold supplements out of it at one time, ordering it, having a white label on it and, putting my men's health clinic's logo on it or whatever, keeping supply, keeping track of the inventory, all this kind of stuff. For what? A markup of $10, $15? Like it wasn't worth my time or effort anymore. I nixed it. It wasn't worth it. The Elite Nurse Practitioner. I get emails from people sometimes with course ideas. I look at it. I'm like, no one's going to pay for that. It's not worth my time. Right. So you have to learn how to say no to things too. You have to evaluate, is it worth the energy and the effort to actually put into it to make it profitable? So you tell me, is this microneedling, having an esthetician in there? Do you think it would be worthwhile?
Probably not, unless they were going to do all of the marketing for it.
Right.
That's my other thing is, we've really done like zero marketing because we just don't have time. And
you don't need to. You got 5 months. You got 5 month wait times. So you really don't even need to at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, word of mouth and your Google business listing sounds like it's doing most of its job for you.
Yeah.
So, marketing with something like this, sometimes you get to a point where you don't really need to market that much. I mean, in my opinion, I think you should always be marketing to an extent, but in your case, like, I don't know if it would be worth the effort right now. Sure, you could start marketing right now, but you're marketing to people and you have a 5 month wait. It's a waste of your money.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't satisfy, what you're advertising, if you can't meet the message, like fulfill what you're advertising, then it's just a total waste of your money. So like, I think first you need to get these processes in place here with having another nurse practitioner there, what services you're going to offer, these kinds of things, like figure out all this stuff first, get someone in there, train them and do these kinds of things. And then you can start begin marketing when you're booking out only like a week in advance versus, 3 or 4 weeks in advance, because now you have room to grow. You can afford having more volume. Right now, you can't afford to have more volume.
Okay.
Just my opinion though.
Yeah, no, I really like that.
All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all Elite Nurse Practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and that other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode.
We're also trying to grow, our passive income more so that I don't have to just be physically face to face with patients. And so I've done 4 of your courses and I just started on the dermatology one because with doing the skin pen now, a lot of patients are like wanting dermatology care and stuff. And so I was thinking about the asynchronous visits with that, but then also with some of the functional medicine lab testing. So, for example, if somebody could go to my website and purchase like a stool test or something like that, they complete the test. And then from there, we do a consultation to go over it. And I just kind of wondered your thoughts on that. Like, if I needed to make that only available to established patients, or if I could make that available to just anybody. So those people who are wanting to be my patient, they could like get their test done first, a stool test or a, hormone test or whatever, and have that result available. Or
I was leaning towards the established patient thing. Like before you even mentioned that's kind of what was going through my mind. Like, I feel like that would be something really great for established patients. So like imagine building a private shop or like a portal on your website, and your established patients can get in there and order these things. They can order a stool test or a hormone test or whatever. And they can order like, a lot of these, cosmetic prescription skincare products and whatnot, you know what I mean? And they just like get in there and they can just order these things. And now it's almost all hands off. And then you just have to just process it on the back end.
Yes.
So you could do something like that. That wouldn't cost that much to develop. You could get a web developer to, program something like that for you fairly cheap. I'd say maybe it cost you a couple $1,000s to get like a private HIPAA compliant shop integrated like into, your website. So you could do that for established patients. If you want to do it for new patients, I mean, it definitely can be done. They land on your website and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I want to do a GI test. And they, click a button or whatever, and they order it. And then you automate that somehow. And then they get the stool collection kit or whatever in the mail, and they do that. And then you get the results from the lab. And then once those results come in, you then call the patient to schedule, telephone consultation or something, charge $150 or whatever it may be. I mean, you could definitely do that. I mean, I think that would probably streamline some processes as well. I think that you need to do that for services that are quick, easy, low liability, and something that's fairly high volume, high demand that you're seeing now.
Okay. If I did it for the new patients, like I'd integrate like a legal consent form, but would I also need to do like a brief health intake so that it was technically like an asynchronous telehealth
Yes.
visit or something?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have like an intake, where they would, put their history in there, medications they're taking, answer some basic questions and whatnot, sign some consent forms, limitations of a telemedicine, asynchronous visit, for example, some stuff like that. And then, they sign all that kind of stuff, press the order button, and then you get it, sign off on it, essentially. I mean, that's what an asynchronous visit is. Legal in most states. So
Okay.
as long as you're not doing it for controlled substances, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Okay. Yeah. It's just a lab test.
Right. I don't see any harm in that at all.
Okay.
No, I think it's a great idea. I mean, you can definitely put that on your website and see what happens. I would say probably play around with it with established patients first and kind of allow them to pilot test it, so to speak, and then make sure it's dialed in with your established patients first. Because if you do it with new patients, it doesn't work very well. You're just going to piss those people off. They'll never come back to your website.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be your priority, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that should be your priority.
And that's the thing. I mean, I've already spent, probably like 15 hours in the last 2 weeks just brainstorming on how to do this and like playing with my website and stuff. And yeah, I think this is my problem is I have all these different ideas and it's hard to, kind of narrow down what to do.
Yeah. Imagine if you would have spent that 15 hours hiring another nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What would pay off bigger? Well, the thing that you were doing before didn't pay off at all. It generated zero income. You spent 15 hours finding a nurse practitioner and hiring them. You would have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So you need to develop an income per activity mindset.
Okay.
And so by that, I mean, every single action you take in your business, you need to ask yourself, is this generating income? Is this an income generating activity? Is what I'm doing worth my time? Will it result in income generation for my business? If it doesn't, it's honestly kind of a waste of your time.
Yeah.
So, let's just stick with the $300,000 a year profit. Let's just stick to that number. Okay. If you worked 40 hours a week, you are worth approximately $150 an hour is what you're worth.
Okay.
And so you need to keep that number in your mind. Is this worth my time doing? Is this worth $150 an hour? Or can I make more than $150 an hour doing this activity? If it's less than $150 an hour, you hire someone else to do it for you. And most people are worth less than $150 an hour. I mean, come on, most people are worth less than $50 an hour. So you just have to develop this mindset with these things. Spending 15 hours fooling around with your website and coming up with this asynchronous idea, it didn't really result in anything at this point. And even if it did result in a programmed asynchronous feature on your website, would it generate more money? Would that generate more money for you than having another nurse practitioner in the office and fixing this 4 to 5 month wait time?
Yeah.
So I think it's just a little bit of a mindset shift here for you.
Okay.
Any questions there? You sound a little, I don't know.
No, it just sounds like so simple that
It
I don't know
is.
why I've been making my life so hard for so long.
Yeah, it is. It is simple. Business is not that hard. People complicate this. It's not complicated. Managing someone's diabetes is far more complicated than running a business, a profitable business. It really is. Don't put this stuff on a pedestal. It's really not that hard. All a business is money coming in and money going out. That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the goal of a business? To generate income. That's the goal. So how do you do that the most efficient way? And so if you develop that mindset, it honestly will guide you and it'll help you get to that point where you can say no to things. Like, no, that's not worth my time. Why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
People approach me with business ideas sometimes. And I'm like, okay, so how much work am I gonna have to put into that? And I'll make a whopping $1,000 a month in profit. And how long is that going to take me to do? I could spend that time doing something else and make far more money. Why would I bother?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. You have a $500,000 practice here. You know how to make money. You know what you're doing. That's a hard feat, especially after 5 years. Most businesses fail in the first year or two. Most businesses never, ever get up to $500,000 in revenue a year. Most businesses never get to that point. The majority of businesses never get to 7 figures. And I really feel like you're right there. Just a few little things here, and you'll go from 6 figures to 7 figures in a matter of a year or two.
Okay. I like that.
I really do. And when you start integrating a bunch of new services and stuff into your practice, make sure it's worthwhile to you, just make sure it's worthwhile. And sometimes it might not be necessary to integrate that many new services into your practice. You're already generating a healthy income doing what you're doing. So are new services even necessary versus delegating work to, another nurse practitioner or having an RN do some IV infusions? Sometimes simple's better.
Yes. And I already sort of feel like a jack of all trades. And so I would like to just, kind of specialize a little bit more and then delegate. But I think I just need to let go of that control piece.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do that as a business owner. It really is.
Yeah, this was our baby. So
right. I get
very
it.
picky about, how the clinic looks and how people are treated. And it's just scary to delegate. So
it is, but it's necessary. You have to do it. You do. Or keep doing exactly what you're doing and enjoy your $500,000 a year business.
yeah.
You can stay right where you're at. Hell, you're making more money than most people do.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Right.
I
You're doing
hate it when we are turning away, we could be doing better, that it just drives me nuts.
Sure. And you could be doing a lot better with really not that much effort. It's nurse practitioner can come in and work 10 hours a week for you. That 5 months will go down to 2 weeks.
Do you think it needs to be a nurse practitioner that also has training in integrative medicine? Or do you think I could hire somebody to just do the primary care piece or provide a little bit of urgent care type work for my patients? Because I guess that's what I'm struggling with is it's hard to find somebody who's been trained in integrative functional medicine too.
Well, you tell me. What are you booking out here? 4 or 5 months for primary care as well?
Yeah. I think people who want primary care from me is they're looking for holistic primary care, somebody that, isn't going to poo-poo them for taking supplements or something,
right.
Not kind of not traditional.
Okay. So let me ask you then. So a family nurse practitioner comes in, no experience with integrative or functional medicine at all, but they have experience with, let's say, hormone replacement therapy in men and women.
Mm-hmm.
If someone came in and just did that alone, how short would your wait times go and how much work would that take off of you?
I mean, I think that would be great. Yeah. And even just for people, my current patients who call up and they have a UTI or whatever, and they want to get in that same day, it would be really nice to have another provider here for that.
Okay. So you're basically answering your own question here. You don't necessarily need someone to come in to do all the functional integrative medicine stuff. You're doing that right
Uh,
now. Sounds like you need just more or less someone there to take the backlog of patients not needing necessarily that stuff, but other things, acute needs, maybe general primary care, hypertension or whatever, hormone replacement therapy, maybe some weight loss consultations or something. If you could just have someone that comes in that just does some more general stuff like that, then, I mean, it sounds like it would obviously take a lot off your plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. And if you brought someone in like that, you could train them slowly. Like, okay, this is a functional medicine patient coming in for, just off the top of my head here, maybe gut health or something like that. So I'm going to teach you how to do gut health and whatnot. This is your first patient. Go knock it out. I'll be right there with you, kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then you slowly kind of train them and that sort of stuff. And then a year goes by or whatever, they start seeing more and more of those patients. So you could definitely do that as well. If you want to start offsetting, though, the integrative functional medicine patients, then I would definitely hire someone with that kind of experience.
Okay.
So it's ultimately going to be up to you. I think you really just need to sit down, run some numbers, and determine what is it that I need. Do I need a functional medicine practitioner to come in here, or is just general medicine, maybe someone who can do some hormone replacement therapy enough? You're going to just run those numbers, look at it, be objective with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that you'll find your answer fairly quickly.
Okay.
Any questions there?
No, simple.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
It is.
Not simple in my brain, but it's very simple when you say it. So
Right. Sometimes you just need a third eye to look at stuff, someone who doesn't know anything else and just what you're telling me. Like sometimes that's all you need is just another set of eyes to, look at your situation. And so that's pretty much all I'm doing for you. And my mind's not cluttered with everything else that's going on in your mind. I'm sure you have childcare and family. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in your mind right now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there is.
Right. Right. The only thing I'm worried about is what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. So anyways, so do you have any other questions here? I mean, I think that you knew the answer and I think that you just needed someone else to kind of just confirm it. I mean, I think you just need to start hiring some work. I think you just need to start hiring other people to come in and help you out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's great. And I think you have a really good point too about people are going to be happier if they're seen in a couple weeks versus several months out.
100%. Absolutely. I guarantee you there's more than one or two people falling through the cracks here. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Just think about the people who call, oh yeah, we're not scheduling for 4 or 5 months. They say, no, thank you. Think about those people and the people not showing up as well. I guarantee you it's probably more than 30%. I guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Imagine if you get those people and you just increase your income by 30% instantly.
Love it.
Yeah. And it's probably going to be more than that. It's probably going to be more than that, to be perfectly honest with you. I really feel like it's probably more than that. I bet you probably increase your income by 50%. Now you will go from 500,000 to 750.
Okay.
With just one thing, hiring just one person. Boom. There you go. And then after that, it's just integrating a few other services into it, maybe doing like a little IV infusion or whatever out of there. And now your husband's seeing more acupuncture patients because now you have more patients coming in to see the other provider and see, there you go. It just all feeds off each other and boom, now you got $1 million.
I like it.
You have any other questions or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a simple thing.
It is. Yeah. It is simple. It really is. For me. This was a great conversation. I think it's really important for people to, hear something like this to see, really what it takes to scale and grow. I mean, you knew the answer was right there in front of you. So, well, if you don't have any other questions, I'd like to end the episode with you asking me a question. Do you have any questions for me that you've always wanted to ask? Or
I just want to say thank you so much for what you do. And yeah, I've done 4 or 5 of your courses and I love them. Again, they're super simple. Like this is how you make money Monday morning. There's not, a bunch of fluff and analyzing studies and going, and then you're like, okay, but how do I implement this in clinical practice? So I really have liked your classes and yeah. Oh, I do have a question for you. Because that's just been the other thing that I've thought of is creating courses for patients. Like, here's what to do for Hashimoto's or something like that. Yeah. Is it worth it? Like, 'cause it just seems like so much work goes into making those courses. Do you think that that would be maybe another semi-passive income stream to look into or what's?
Yeah, I think for you to do that though to any kind of level where you're going to make enough money to justify your time. Remember, income per activity here, right? So for this to justify your time, I feel like you honestly have to go down a different route instead of just selling these courses to your established patients. It's going to be selling these courses to people who don't even really know what your practice even exists, but are interested in, supplementation and things that they can do for their Hashimoto's disease, for example, or their IBS and, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, it would be almost like a care package course kind of thing. Do you have IBS? Okay, well, then this course is for you. It's, 3 hours long. I'm going to go over, if you have these symptoms, then try this supplement. If you have these symptoms, then try that supplement, for example. You know what I mean? So like you could create a course like that walks patients through more holistic approaches to fix their ailments, so to speak. And the only way that you're going to do that, though, is that you have to go down the path of creating a e-commerce business that revolves around content creation. You have to build an audience.
Okay. Yeah. I have zero social media presence. And again, I feel like I don't have time to do that. So probably not worth it for me, right?
At this point, I feel like that you would probably make more money focusing on what you got right there in front of you.
Okay.
Trust me, it's a lot of work to build an audience.
Yeah.
The elite nurse practitioner just didn't magically happen. You know what I mean? When I'm spending a Friday afternoon talking to you, for example, and then I have to edit this. I got to write stuff. I got to upload. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. People don't realize writing all the articles and stuff. Like it's a lot of work to it. I just don't know if you going down that path right now is necessary because I think that you have $1 million business right in front of you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Well,
you're welcome.
On social media, but
yeah, I mean, if you don't have a social media presence, you really should. I mean, that should be something you should definitely have. I mean, I think it'll definitely increase patient conversions and whatnot. I mean, that's all social media is for a business is just a marketing platform.
Okay.
So maybe go down that path later. Okay. You don't need it right now. You need to just get this 4 to 5 month wait time backlog off your shoulders first. You got to fix that problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Marketing is a waste of your time right now. You don't need to be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Later. But no, I'm glad you enjoyed the courses. Hey, they offer CEU now as well. So there you go. You're going to have to be able to
I saw that. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm super excited about that too. I've been waiting forever. It took us 8 months, but we finally got it. So yeah. All right. Well, you have any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you so much for your time.
You are welcome. Hey, I would love to schedule a follow-up. We got to do a follow-up on this. You got to let me know in 6 months how it's going.
Okay.
So just shoot me an email. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Melissa. That was a great episode on knowing what you need to do to grow and scale a business. She knew the answer. She knew she had to hire someone. She just did. I mean, she told me that before we even hopped on the phone call. We talked for like 1 minute before we started. And so she knew this. She knew she had to hire someone. Okay. So sometimes the answer's staring there right in front of you. And sometimes you just need someone like me to be like, yep, you're right. That's pretty much all I had to do. So she knew that. So for her to go from 6 figures to 7 figures, she needs to bring on another provider. She needs to bring on another nurse practitioner, right? She needs to hire maybe an RN and do some IV infusions for her. She needs to delegate work to others. If she does that, she will go from 6 figures to 7 figures in a matter of a year. I guarantee it. Like her business is just right there. She is just on the edge of going from $500,000 to $1 million practice. She really is. She just needs to do a few little tweaks to generate a lot of money and to have a super successful practice, all right? Don't complicate this stuff, guys. It's not that complicated. Business is about making money. Your practice is there to make money. Your business is there is to generate an income. And oftentimes, simple little fixes, simple things can do just that. You have to just get out of your head sometimes, all right? Income per activity is what I'm doing here going to generate money. Figure out how much you're worth, and then activities that are worth that or more are what you need to be pursuing. Anything less, you need to delegate to others. That's how you build $1 million business. Right. Hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and/or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.